6, 2022 meeting for the City Council, the City of Lamar. I'm Eric Crespin. Sorry we're a little delayed tonight. We had a very, very busy budget work session that we had before this meeting. And then shortly thereafter, we did the interviews for our 4 different candidates. We had 4 great candidates who applied for Oscar Rudley's position. And what we'll be doing tonight is we've completed the interviews during the work session. After the meeting, we'll have an executive session, and then we will come out of the executive session to make a decision. So I want to thank everybody that applied. It's going to be a very difficult decision. We had some great candidates with some great answers and responses. So we're looking forward to having new ideas and new thoughts and new perspectives come onto the council. So we're looking forward to that. As a side note, before we move forward, I do want to thank Kristen Schwartz, our treasurer, and Rob Evans, our city administrator, and of course Linda Williams, our city clerk, working on the budget. Every year the budget is so difficult. We have so many pieces. We have to meet with all the different department heads, ask what their wish lists are, and then just chop away those wishes and take away those. So it's always a challenge for them. And I know it's a lot of work, and even though we joke about it a little bit, it is a lot of work and difficulty to work with that. It's a negotiation process. And once a year we go through this budget process. And fortunately, we have a very strong city. We have a strong fund balance in reserves. So we are in a good position. We do have a little bit of a deficit this year because of the wages, but we're working on some solutions for that. But moving forward, I think our city is very strong for the future, strong economically. We're starting to see some growth in our community, and we're moving forward. So thank you all for all the work that you do, and to all the staff for working on our budget like we do every year. With that said, we will proceed. Are you having technical difficulties?
I am having technical difficulties. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Try again.
Bear with us 1 second. Maybe not. We got it. All right. So with that said, we're going to move on with the meeting. We will start off with our invocation. We have Galen to start us with our invocation. Martha's bringing you a microphone.
Okay, thank you. Father, we want to thank you and praise you for your blessings upon our city and upon our city council and the workers here in our city. Father, we thank you that you have given these men and women the skills that are needed to help our city to make progress. Father, we pray now that you will just be with our city council as they meet tonight. They've been here for a long time already this evening. Father, we pray that you will just give them a fresh breath, ready to tackle the items of our city council meeting tonight. Help them to have insight and wisdom into the best things for our city. Give them insight and wisdom into what to decide to do, what to decide not to do, and how to do it effectively. Father, we just pray your blessing upon our city, our council, and the people who work in our city. We pray you put your protection upon them and your blessing upon them, and we thank you for that. We thank you in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Joe, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the time is now 7:08 p.m. We will call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Joe Gonzalez.
Here.
Mike Bellamy.
Here.
Jerry Jenkins. Here. Kirk Crespin.
Here.
Manuel Smith.
Here.
Anne Marie Campton.
Here.
Rob Evans.
Here.
Kristen McCrick.
Here.
Kristen Schwartz. Lance Clark.
Here.
Okay, so as I mentioned in our opening, we will need to modify our agenda to add in the item under 11, item 11, which will be a decision based for the new council member. Can we get a motion to add that in as an agenda item?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to add agenda item number 11 to vote for the new city council member. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And vote. Opposed, same sign. Mike?
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, so we have amended the agenda. So now we'll move on to the consent agenda. Now, the consent agenda, everybody's had an opportunity to look at that. I did not see any items that we needed to separate out, but did anybody else on the council?
I didn't see any.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as submitted. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject that does not appear on the agenda. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and that is at the discretion of the council. Is there anybody here tonight that would like to speak to the council on any topic? All right, seeing none. I will just state, if you have specific questions, you can message them to Martha online, and she can get them to us to where we can get those answers for you, and during the miscellaneous items portion. Next item on the agenda is the city treasurer's report. Kristen?
I have no report tonight unless anyone has any questions for me. I think I've talked enough.
Anybody? All right, we'll move on to the city clerk's report.
And I have no report tonight.
Okay. City administrator.
I would like to say that we're going to continue my coffees with Rob. We're going to be at the Rivals on Wednesday, but I was going to ask that if anybody had any suggestions on where we would like to change my rotation. Next month, I'll go back to the truck stop and the Hickory House and McDonald's, but we're starting to come down on some of the numbers, and I'm getting like 2 or 3 each time now. So if I could get some type of suggestions, come on and call me up. Let me know what you think would work, and so we can sit down and sort of informally go over ideas. Let go of a little pressure, maybe a little before a council meeting or anything like that. But come talk to me, and we can get things situated and lined up right before we come to a council meeting. But I'd like to get to meet everybody that I haven't been able to, and if you have a good suggestion, we can do it. But I might start having it in the event center and just having a coffee on Wednesday mornings there. But anyway, so Rivals next Wednesday.
Okay.
That's all I have right now.
Well, you had a few items.
Oh, I don't have
Department
one.
review, what was?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't find my sheet right now. So.
Sorry, I just thought I'd double.
Oh, it's okay. Let's see. Oh, Oktoberfest. Yeah, I didn't want to miss that one. October 1st, we're on Saturday. We're going to have the city council breakfast at McDonald's on October 5th. Now, this one is at 7 a.m., and I know that you guys were also discussing some other type of alternative venues or other ideas or anything like that. And, you know, I'd be willing to help out with whatever you guys wanted to do on that one as well. But McDonald's can be coffee with the council.
Yeah, we usually do the council breakfast every, 2 times a quarter, and then the council social in the evenings, but neither one has been causing a big draw, so I know we had talked about different solutions and ways that we could try to attract people, and that was one of the questions we asked the new candidates is how do we do that, so. Council, any ideas, suggestions? Shall we just keep it this month and see if our new member has some ideas next month?
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay. Lamar Public Library, our trunk or treat, Friday, October 28th. They're looking for volunteers. If you want to host a trunk, I think we're gonna do it out in the parking lot and let people walk around and visit each one of the trunks. So all the kids will get a chance to walk through, and that's correct, right? We're gonna do that out in the parking lot. So if you guys want to, come contact us up here at the City Hall, and we're gonna be having a fun time right before Halloween. So projects updates. I know we did get finished with the roads that we were doing for the streets department. I know that we've made some progress on our pedestrian bridge. We've already dug and done work on our soccer field. So I know that a lot of the projects we were trying to work on and get done before the weather comes in and changes, we did finish all of those that we were briefed on last month. So if you have any questions about future projects, I will take those too. Oh, yeah.
Saw a couple people power washing the locomotive out of the chamber.
You guys saw that. We're going to be repainting the locomotive to make sure that, some of the suggestions, and we've got, we're going to have it at least be visibly better. It's not a complete renovation. It's not going into the, asbestos or anything like that, but this is a painting and it will make it nicer to look at. So, yep.
So that's kind of a temporary solution.
Temporary
until we
solution
can
right
get
now.
the permanent solution.
That's right.
Yes.
Anything else? Nope.
What was your department review on the police department?
You have all that, number one?
Did you have it with you? I normally have them give me but I was gone on Friday and I didn't pick it up, so.
I can talk about the police department as much as you guys want. So this year, we're about 4,900 calls for service. We reach 8,500 to 9,000 every year. About half of those are code enforcement calls. This year, the code enforcement has about an 85% compliance rate with getting, whenever they issue a door hanger, they get a call about a code violation, or they see one, they put a door hanger on the door, they give them 14 days to get it cleaned up. And then if not, we issue them a citation, the city will clean it up, and we put a lien on the property. But right now, they're about 85 to 86% compliance, so that's pretty good compared to where we took over. I think it was 10 years ago we took over code enforcement. The guys on the streets are working very hard. We're still down 3 officers. We have 2 in the academy right now. It sounds like they're doing well in the academy, thankfully. After they get out of the academy, they will go through our FTO program, which is 14 weeks. They're with a more seasoned officer who trains them how we handle calls, our paperwork process, the basic things of being an officer. Then they're out on their own. So we're looking mid-April before we have them out on the street. We're still down 3, so if anybody would like to come and apply, we are always accepting applications for that. So if anybody knows of anybody, I'd greatly appreciate that. Calls for service, we're trending on a downward on the ones we track. We're doing pretty good. The guys are doing good. Investigating those and our clearance rate, I can't answer what that is right now, what we do for our clearance rate. Our major crimes are really high. Robberies, homicides, we're at 100% on those. So those major crimes, you guys come together and do a good job investigating those. So any questions, I'd love to answer them for you.
What about the property, and I don't know the address, and I'm sure I've talked to Rob about it, it's the old Cray packing plant that's over on 13th, 14th.
Right, the old K&K custom meats?
Yes.
It's a work in progress. That one's a little different because it's a commercial building.
Okay.
So the regulations are much different on that one than for a residential building. That's something that it's going to take a long time and some substantial amounts of money to get that one removed.
Okay, thank you.
How's the construction impacting the traffic?
Are they done yet? We've had a few crashes in the construction zone. The guys know the side streets well enough, they can get around it. If we have something going on, the traffic, I've been at Memorial and Main Street trying to turn there, and it can be a nightmare, especially whenever the red light coming from Savage turns green. Then there's a wave of about 30 trucks coming through, and then you get everybody stacked up on the south. I guess one blessing is they're not doing a huge stretch at this time, so it's just a small spot, but I'm guessing they're probably going to expand that here soon, and then we'll be fighting it all over again. So I don't think there's been a lot of problems. I think this is 3 or 4 years we've been in the middle of Main Street repaving, so everybody's kind of getting used to it a little bit. It's great when it's done. It's a pain in the rear end whenever it's going on. But it hasn't impacted us greatly. I think everybody in town, everybody knows the side streets. And it's the people going through that. I see a lot of traffic, GPS, Google GPS, Google Maps. It gets a lot of people to go around it anyways. You'll see a lot of people on county roads trying to miss it. So.
And I did notice that like MapQuest and if you in Google, they're starting to put alerts on there when there's accidents and things of that nature. So it's being updated more frequently.
I think people out there are doing that on their own.
On their own,
updating
reporting them.
And they also report where my guys are sitting, so.
Oh, okay.
They do.
So we had one individual in the audience, if you don't mind asking.
Pertaining to those accidents there, have you been able to have a conversation with Pat Mason about the intersection of Savage and northbound Main where that giant dip is starting to form? Because even people going 25, 30, I see them almost losing control of that car, which could be potentially a severe accident.
So that'd be CDOT, that wouldn't be our responsibility. You can call them and report it. I don't know if that was.
About it at all, or?
I guess if there's a concern, I can go look at it, but it's CDOT's responsibility. It's on Main Street.
It's really bad. I mean, I take that road pretty regularly, and even people going 30 miles per hour, you see them hit it and jolt left or right.
Sure. I can make a phone call to CDOT.
I'm sure Anne Marie's noticed it as well.
Just so you know, it will help. The more people that call CDOT to tell them that they have a complaint about it, it helps. If we tell them, they will listen to us and put it in whatever their schedule. But if more and more people are calling them to tell them that, it helps in their priorities.
I could totally do that, I think. It was the chief of police also made a call.
And I would make that suggestion to anybody that's watching, you know, if you have that kind of a concern with that intersection, please submit your concerns. That way they have more than just one person saying that, so. Okay.
I have a two-part. So first, I'd like to ask for the citizens of the community to help out with this issue, like Rob said, to make the calls. But second, I'd like to request if you and maybe the chief could talk to CDOT about, and I don't want to sound like I'm discriminatory against trucks because
We need them.
we ran trucks. But I didn't go from 50 mile an hour to 35 mile an hour, and I'm halfway through Lamar and I'm still running 50 mile an hour.
Sure.
So something needs to be, there's been citizens that's come to me and said that they're in between two trucks, and if they try to slow down to 35 mile an hour, they're gonna be deceased
And you're talking coming in over the river bridge?
over the river bridge. Yes, sir.
Yep, we can look into that.
I tried making a couple phone calls to CDOT, you know, because I know they'll have to do a survey and whatever they have to do, but I never could get a hold of anybody at all to ask if there was a survey in
I'll get back
place
to
or
you.
something like that.
We'll talk to them.
But I know when the Cow Palace opens up, we're really gonna have some break stopping traffic coming into town there.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for our chief? Seeing none, we will move on. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Appreciate it. Any last comments on your report?
No, great job.
All right. So now we'll move on to our reports and correspondence from the council. Do we have any council liaison reports?
I have none.
I don't have any.
None from me.
None.
Anne Marie? The only thing that I did have is, you know, this last week, Pryor's Medical Center held their community, it was more of a focus group where they had invited some of the community members in to discuss the future of Lamar and things that they needed to do. So it was a really good event, a lot of great input. So I thank them for having that, or giving us the opportunity to get involved on that. Aside from that, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is to schedule a public hearing for a special events permit for Lamar Community College to serve wine and beer during the Prowers Economic Prosperity Membership Social. So that's what our next item on the agenda is. Do we have a motion to move into?
So moved.
No.
Oh, we need to schedule it. not-
Schedule it.
We don't have to actually move into it tonight, just schedule it. So what do we have as far as the regulation, what time frame?
Talk about it?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So, Lamar Community College submitted an application to serve wine and beer during the Prowers Economic Prosperity Membership Social that they are hosting. They submitted the application on the 19th. I'm proposing that we hold the public hearing on October 24th which allows me time for posting on site and in the newspaper.
Okay. Any questions from the council?
I don't have any.
Are we good with the 24th?
I am.
Yes.
Okay. Do we need to actually vote on that or just give you direction?
No, we need to.
Okay.
Galen has a question.
So moved.
Second.
You had a question, Galen?
And you didn't say what the date of that,
It's the 25th, October.
The event is on the 25th.
The event is the
isn't
25th.
it October the 25th?
Yes.
Yes.
But the
The
hearing,
event is.
Why are we having a hearing the day before? I mean.
We have to hold it, we can't have a hearing 30 day we have to have the application in hand 30 days.
Okay.
So our next council meeting would be the
I think we need to do a
24th.
little better planning, because if we have the hearing the night before it happens, are we forcing our council people to automatically approve that? I think this does not look well. I think we need to do a far better job. I think it's twisting the arms of our council people to approve it, because the night before is not a good time that you can make changes or revisions or cancel it.
Okay. Thank you for the input. Anybody?
So I would just defend the city and say it's completely on LCC. LCC did not know it would take this much a hearing, et cetera, to do it. It's the first time that I'm aware of that LCC has actually asked for a permit in the 25 years that I've worked for LCC. So
They've had
a little
other
grace.
permits through the county. The county doesn't
Yes.
require a public hearing because a public hearing isn't necessary per state regulations.
Right.
But our council requests that we hold a public hearing.
Okay. Okay, so shall we continue with that? We would need a motion if you would like to do
There was
this.
a motion in a second.
And I'm sorry I missed that.
Motion.
And I second.
Okay, so we had a motion with Anne Marie Crampton, we had a second with Jerry Jenkins. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Next item on the agenda is to approve CHP's quote and funding of the health and dental insurance premiums for 2023. This is initiated by Margaret Saldana, our HR manager, and Rob Evans, the city administrator.
Yes,
Rob?
sir. Well, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, the costs only went up 7%, and I guess we were planning on around 10%. So this is actually a pretty good deal, isn't that correct?
It is, and dental and vision did not change. It's
So recommendation is to accept and allow the mayor to sign.
Okay, any questions by the council or discussion?
I move we accept and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll give a last or a final opportunity for any questions from the council. Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Next item on the agenda is an appointment to the Adjustment and Appeals Board. This was initiated by Craig Brooks, our Building Department Inspector, Director. Chris, or Craig?
Whatever, either one goes.
Great.
Good evening, council. This was we had a member of our board resign, and the information's in front of you. Chris Carell, who served brilliantly and dedicated his time. He can no longer provide that time. We have a replacement. It has been duly advertised. The replacement would be Todd Horning, who does live here in Lamar. And so the recommendation is to vote to accept Todd Horning to take over Chris Carell's term.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any final questions from the council? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of.
All right, next item is to approve and sign a contract with the Galante Architecture Studio Incorporated, Ted Galante, AIA Lead AP for the new Police and Fire Public Safety Building. Craig?
Yes, Kristen and I have worked on this diligently. We submitted a RFP to architects around the country, and we had a walkthrough, we had a question period, and Galante Architectural Studio provided us with what we felt was the best proposal for the police and fire safety facility. I talked to Ted, who is the primary, he is the owner of the company, and asked him if he could provide us with what we're going to call Phase 1, which he provided to you, and it is right there, which he will bring his team out. He will interview our police chief, our fire chief, our city administrator, and he will have a presentation or questions for council. And he will do the items that he has bullet pointed on here. And that comes with a set fee, so we could come up with a set fee. And then the second part would be Phase 2, where he would set the construction costs and start on the drawings and those type of things.
I have a question to
Sure.
ask. I know you guys have done a really good job in getting this all ready, but I think that because Rob has been trying to get this public safety board going, I would like to see the public safety board, at least a member or two involved in this. So we need to see how soon we can get this meeting going, because I think if they're going to be on the board, they need to be involved in this also. Okay, and are we still
We're gonna-
needing another member? Or?
Yes, we have one opening for the public safety board.
Okay, okay.
And we're going to try again, I believe, is it Thursday? I believe Thursday again, we're going to try and have another
Okay.
meeting.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can get,
Okay.
So Jerry, we could, if council approves this, we could make sure that that's added into his bullet points,
Okay.
besides the police chief and that, the public safety
I would
council.
appreciate that.
Absolutely. I don't think he'd have a problem with that at all.
But the board wouldn't have any say over
No.
the building or construction or
Just
anything. This is
input.
just,
Yeah, and that would be the same thing that he's gathering input from the police, the fire, the city administrator to do his design. So it would give the board the opportunity to have some input, but. Okay, any questions from the council on this bid or on the project itself?
I have one question. This is this in the master plan at all? City master plan?
Not-
Is this something that the community wants? How do we know if the community wants it?
It's more of a city need than it would be a want. Yes, it's part of the want. We are actually, so two parts. You asked two parts of the question. The city master plan, as far as, there's not really a master plan for the city development. There is the community development master plan, which is actually 19 years old and it expires next year. And so we're applying for the new master plan. And that's going to be a 2-year process to get that. We applied for a grant to get that started, to renew it for another 10 years rather than 20. So we're looking at another 10 years before we do this. This all came to fruition because the fire and police retirement fund had some additional funds that came to the city, which was a significant amount. The usage of those funds needed to be used towards police and fire. And it's very seldom that we're able to invest those types of funding in capital improvement projects such as this. So this is where it was coming from, was the need-based of, if you talk to the officers, I'm sure Kyle can tell you, they're very tight in the building facility, and we are actually leasing additional buildings outside of the city structure. So we are leasing additional buildings over in the Village Shopping Center and where else? Is that the only one?
We'll run all 3 stories here and the middle shop.
Yeah, so there was a need for the police department as far as space. And as far as the fire, they're needing some accommodations for, the residents who are on staff. So this was all a need-based decision to move
So
forward.
could it be on the
with this.
future master plan?
It will be.
It
Right.
will be.
And it's been part of our strategic planning discussions that unfortunately.
Since 2012.
Yes.
That you weren't part of?
And for safety reasons for the rest of us that are in the building with the police, we need them separate. And so we've had many incidences. COVID brought it to light. We couldn't get our people spread out enough in the fire department. We have nowhere for them. They are crammed in there. They have to spend the night, 2 of them in there. And we had to put the administrative assistant in with the other guys. They are crammed in there. So we have got to have more room.
Yeah.
So.
And thank you for reminding me of that, because it was first brought up in 2012 when we did our master plan, or our strategic planning. And then it was brought up again 5 years later and 5 years after that.
Right,
So this
and-
is the 4th master plan that we've taught, or strategic planning that we've
And we
discussed that
have
in.
some base funding available that we haven't ever had before. This is perfect to do this.
Okay.
I have a comment more than a question, and I can see the great importance of it because I've been through the facility and it is tight quarters, and I can see the importance of it. Is this something that we can put off until we take care of the deficit and figure out, do the compression and then move forward back in January with this plan with who you're talking about with T-Gas here?
Well, there's.
So the
there's
difference
already-
would be that the funding that we're using for this project is earmarked for fire and police, because it was the fire and police retirement plan. So that wouldn't affect our deficit, that small deficit that we have.
So that 132 would be coming out of that fire
The
protection?
fire protection. So, and we couldn't use those fire protection funds to apply to any place else in the city, because it needs to be related to fire and ambulance and public safety. So,
So since it's for their building, then you can use it towards those?
yeah, so that's where we would be able to, we could use it for partial, part of the salaries for just the police and fire, but that would be a minimal impact over the overall general
So
employee
overall, the
deficit.
best usage is what we're looking at. I mean, we could get fire hydrants with it, but it's been looked at and evaluated. I think what we're saying is that this is the best place to use those funds.
Well, and council
And the-
already voted on that direction many months ago.
Yes.
And Joe, I think that this proposal here will answer itself by taking this first step, still allows the city council and the city to decide they're not going to do it, but then we have some hard numbers instead of a estimate, and we put the ideas of the needs of the city on paper so everybody can see it.
Well, thank you for the clarification.
No problem.
So I have one more question then concerning all this.
Okay.
So our goal is to terminate our outlying facilities that we pay rent on?
Not the
Okay.
goal, but a goal.
A goal.
A goal, okay. So are we still gonna have a station number 2? Or we can combine it all into one, so we're still gonna be paying for that facility?
We don't have to pay for that, we're not leasing that, the city property, that city already owns that facility. So, yeah, we'll still keep that station.
Well, in a sense, the taxpayers have to pay for it because they still have to pay utilities and upkeep and, so that was my general question, is we're gonna have 2 facilities.
Yes.
Yeah, for my ISO, that station is recognized, for that ISO rating.
So it's a
Has
good
2
thing.
stations, yes. Okay. Any other questions? Well, what's the council's pleasure?
Well, I make a motion to move forward.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the proposed public safety.
I just ask if there's any kind of contract on it, so that I get to review it, something like this. In the agenda yet, if there's anything that comes after this.
So could we
For phase
amend
2, there
your,
will be, right?
so could we
For
amend your
phase
motion to
2.
do 2 things, to include the public safety board's input and to include a review of the city attorney?
I amend the motion to include the Public Safety Board in
Input.
what,
Input.
the input from the Public Safety Board and upon Lance's review.
So just a comment to the safety board, again, I don't know that, I guess I just don't know why they would be included in that decision-making or that. I mean, really, it's the board's decision on what you guys want to do as far as approving, and this, we're talking right now, just the design, trying to figure that out. So I don't know, this public safety board, although will have a purpose in the community, I don't know that this is where their purpose should lie, or that they have bylaws or anything indicating that they have authority over this matter, dictating to the council or providing recommendations to the council on this type of building.
Yeah, I agree, because if anything, it can become a hindrance in time-wise, if we're saying they have to be a part of looking at it. I mean, I know they don't get any type of decision-making, but still, if we're saying, oh, well, we're waiting for them to look at it, and then that's holding things up, I'm not okay with that.
And I think it was noted that the fire and police chief would be involved in the conversation with the individuals doing the design, which I think is the key piece of not just evaluating the building that it currently sits, but getting that input from them on what they, and that's probably the more, at least in my view, more important input that would be needed without them having any express authority to be able to make that decision.
Well, I think it was more along the lines of the public input. The public safety board is just a public portion of that to give input. And it's similar to when we did the master plan for the airport. The airport board, met with them as during their planning process to give input. And I believe, I'm not sure, did the water department give any input on the wastewater master plan? Okay, well, so maybe it's not on all boards. And that's fine. I mean, it's up to the council, whichever you'd like to do. If you'd like to simplify it by not including that, either way, I just think.
It's not part of the motion, so.
So amend the motion again?
I don't think you need to.
No?
No, it was part of the motion.
Yeah, he amended it to include
Include
it,
the
so,
public safety board.
yeah, in the input, public input. So if you'd like to amend it, you're welcome to. It's up to.
Ms. Jenkins, what route would you like to take?
Amend it.
Okay, so we amend the motion not to include the public safety board and have Lance review contracts and so forth that are associated with it. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I have one more thing, because I got put on this board, I want to be taken off the board. You can pick another city council member. I'm sorry, it's nothing against you, but we have input too as a board, and they're saying no. I mean, we're not saying how to design it or anything, and I don't want to sound like I'm throwing a fit, but
Maybe we could put a new council member on there.
yes, please do.
Okay. So do we have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second with the amended.
So we had a motion, and Jerry had seconded it, and then he amended it. So is she not going
Okay.
to amend?
Yeah, I amend it too, but
Okay.
and then we'll do the other one.
All right, well, let's move forward.
We have a motion and a second.
Okay. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Joe?
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Moving on to the next item on the agenda. This is the fourth updated revision of the proposed tiny homes guidelines that has been presented to the council. We've had multiple meetings on this and work sessions, and Craig, would you like to take over?
Yes, it's basically the same format that we started with 4 revisions ago, but there was some interesting information brought up. So we've added the bungalow style to be allowed from 401 square feet to 1,000 square feet. So we feel now that this proposal will encompass tiny homes as they were originally conceived, and will allow other people to build a home bigger, and we are still going to follow the Appendix Q guidelines, which that's what the state, that's what's in the current building code. I don't see the state of Colorado voting on this in the near future. So if we're gonna hold off until they say something, that's fine. But I just think that this is a good start and a guideline for the city. So if we had a builder or we had someone, they now could have some guidelines to move forward.
I had thought that we were actually, I don't think you were at the last time when we had a vote on it, that we were tabling it because I thought their state was gonna have a vote coming up soon, and so is that different now?
They're talking about it, but I don't know. I don't know. We don't control them and,
Right.
you know, what gets on their docket and not, it's kind of different. I'm not saying that we can't go back after, if we did something like this, it would not mean that we still couldn't add whatever the state does. But I think here it now allows a true tiny home builder to build under Appendix Q, and it allows another builder or a homeowner to build a bigger one following the same guidelines, but get a bigger square footage, which isn't considered a tiny home.
I guess personally, I would still like to maybe table it until we can have some further discussion rather than just now looking at it and making a decision on whether we're gonna embrace all of these new rules.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Council, what do you guys think?
Well, I like what Craig mentioned here about just following through with the Appendix Q. And that's a guideline to get started. I mean, it is guidelines to what the state's requiring to build these things.
That is correct.
Do we have people that are interested in right now today?
We still have an active citizen that continues to communicate with me that would like to build a tiny home. But, you know, he's kind of put all of his enthusiasm on hold while we work through this process.
Okay. So you don't know how long it may be before the state sets their ruling?
I do not. I mean, Appendix Q came out in the 2018 code book, so.
She just mentioned it was July of '23, maybe?
Isn't that what
It could
Mark
be.
has stated?
I don't know that it'll be on, but the Appendix Q came out in the 2018 code book. And so nothing's happened from 18 to 23. So I don't know, I just don't see that. It's just a comment and it's a guideline, so.
So this isn't actually an ordinance, it's just guidelines that we would follow through with, is that right?
That's how I'm proposing it, yes, sir.
So we're pretty certain that there's nobody else wanting to build, nobody's approached the city wanting to build a tiny home or a bungalow or anything?
Not that I'm aware of.
In any other areas that are mobile home zoned or?
At this time, not that I'm aware of, sir.
So there's really no need for us to hurry?
You do not?
And I did have questions about the permanency. I was watching a video and I think part of the appeal of tiny homes is they're not necessarily permanent. So is the foundation permanent and they anchor to it and then 5 years from now they can unanchor and move it somewhere else? Or are you requiring, by these guidelines, we are requiring them to permanently anchor to this foundation?
By these guidelines, we are requiring them to permanently anchor to a foundation.
I think that goes against kind of the whole tiny home concept, is that it isn't.
I think I'd rather review this in a work session.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've had how many? So we'll just table it until we review it and wait for the state to come out with their rulings to clarify.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we need a motion to table this?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, item number 6 is award bid 42-013 for financing a new Elgin broom sweeper and allow the mayor to sign the lease agreement upon the review of the city treasurer and the city attorney.
Yes, there's a typo, sorry about that on your commentary. We went out for bid, we advertised it in the local paper on August 18th, not May. We also sent packets to all the local banks, asked for their bid on financing a new Elgin broom sweeper for the street department, which was in the budget for '22. We opened bids on September 14th, and I am making a recommendation that we award the financing for the new Elgin broom sweeper to GN Bank, which clearly had the lowest interest rate, which they will hold for me for a year.
So moved.
Second.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a machine spotted, or is this gonna be a minivan
Yes, sir.
deal?
We're ready to roll. We're just
Okay.
waiting for you tonight. They're gonna order it in the morning if
Okay.
you approve this.
Nice.
You like that one better?
Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
sir. All right.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any other final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
All right, agenda item number 7 is a memorandum of understanding, an MOU with the Department of Veterans Affairs. This was initiated by Chief Miller. Chief?
The VA reached out in 2015. We entered into an MOU with them, basically guidelines if they have any incidents on their property, or if we have to go in there and make any arrests or serve any search warrants. The basic thing. Basically, all we have to do is notify them before we go do anything. If there's any kind of a disturbance, then we will go handle it and then let them know. And if the FBI needs to come down and investigate it or handle it, they will. Just the same application, or I'm sorry, the same MOU as we had in 2015. The letter says we had one in 2020. I couldn't find a record of us entering one in 2020, but I had one from 2015.
I don't have any issues with it. I reviewed it. Feels pretty similar to anything we would do anyways, so I don't see any issues with it, and it's already been an agreement that's been in place since 2014.
Pretty much no changes on the agreement.
Correct. And like Lance said, we would respond either way. Even if we didn't have this MOU and there's a disturbance or something, we're going to go anyways. So this is just formalizing what we would.
Dick?
Make a motion to enter into the MOU and approve the mayor sign.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to enter the MOU, approve mayor's sign. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Unanimous in favor of?
All right, the next item is agenda number 8, apply for the Animal Assistance Foundation grant. This is initiated by Chief Miller and the shelter manager, Crum.
2015 was a busy year for us. This is also when we got into a partnership with the Animal Assistance Foundation. Every year since then, they've helped us with the cost of the animal shelter manager and also with some upkeep at the shelter. This year, we're asking for $18,500. $15,000 of it goes towards the animal shelter manager's salary, and then the $3,500 would go towards operating expenses at the shelter. This is an electronic submission. There's nothing to sign. Just asking for approval of the application and allowing the electronic submission. And there is no match.
So moved.
Has everybody who had to have eyes on the application had their eyes on it?
I sure hope so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with it. Applying for a grant, so no issue there.
Okay.
Didn't see any conditions that were unreasonable.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any other final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is our executive session. This is for discussion of personnel matter under CRS. Well, actually, we have our miscellaneous first. Sorry.
Miscellaneous.
We do have a miscellaneous before we move into there. This miscellaneous time would give anybody the opportunity to add anything in or answer any questions that were asked online. Were there any questions, Martha? No. Okay. Council have any questions or items?
None.
Seeing none, our next item would be the executive session for discussion of personnel matter under the Colorado Revised Statutes, Section 246402, subsection 4, subsection F, for discussion of the city council vacancy. We will have a decision coming out of this, so if you will bear with us, we will be back shortly. Do we have a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
All right, we will return shortly. Thank you for your patience. So are we back on? All right, thank you for your patience. It was a very difficult discussion and, to try to determine between the 4 different candidates. As I said before, we had some really great candidates for the city council position. Each one of them had great qualities. So now what we'll do is we'll make a decision on that. We're going to start out by doing a poll through the council, and then at the end, we will do the actual appointment, vote for the appointment. So we'll start off with Anne Marie. Who would be your vote of the 4?
Duffy.
So just Morgan.
Who, please?
Duffy.
Okay, Manuel.
Kellyanne?
Okay, I would go with Sean.
Duffy.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Mike.
Kellyanne?
David.
Okay. And do we have a consensus?
So we have a tie with 2 votes each for Kelly Ann and Mike Duffy.
Okay, so then we will go through the roll again and get a decision from the 2 candidates. Anne Marie,
Duffy.
Manuel,
Kellyanne?
I have Duffy.
Duffy.
Kellyanne?
Duffy.
Okay, so we have 4 votes for Mike Duffy, 2 votes for Kelly Dewey, and
Okay, so with that said, we would just need a motion to appoint the council member for the position.
I move we appoint Mike Duffy as our council member for Ward 2.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Mike Duffy to council member for Ward 2. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
unanimous in favor of.
Congratulations, Mike. Well, welcome to the council. So we will invite you back for the next meeting, of course, and we'll do your swearing in, and we'll have you ready for is that the next meeting?
Yeah, we will do that at the next meeting. If he would like to come in ahead of time so we can do a little bit of the paperwork.
Okay, so if you can come by the office and do some paperwork to get you set up before the next meeting, and we'll get you started. Thank you to everybody who applied. We really appreciate it, and appreciate your involvement in the community. So now we just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion passes. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Jerry?
Unanimous in favor of.
All right, thank you all for joining us tonight. We look forward to seeing you at the next meeting.